And I'm going to talk to you today about the importance of, for all of you newbie real estate investors, making the offer. And when I say making the offer, I mean making all of the offers, making lots of offers on lots of different real estate. And we're going to go through why you need to do it, what it's going to help you with. And by the end of the video, all of you are going to run out and make 25 offers on real estate. Doesn't matter where you're at in this world. You're going to find the deal of a lifetime. You're going to start your real estate investment career. My God, what a good video. So guys, here's why making the offer is so important to all real estate investors, but especially to those of you who are just getting started in this game of real estate. And you have this fear, this crippling, debilitating fear that keeps you from making offers, and you make all kinds of excuses for yourself as to why you don't do it. Let me tell you the truth about every real estate investor. Everybody has that fear at the start, and if you never make an offer, you will never find the deal of a lifetime. So get past that fear. We're going to try and help you. So let's talk about how you're going to overcome the fear of rejection. Honestly, I don't like making the offers, guys, because I'm a real estate investor. If I'm doing my job well, I'm usually going to be insulting the person who I'm making the offer to. So naturally, one, I'm afraid I'm going to get rejected. Yes. I'm afraid that I'm going to insult somebody. Yes. That stuff happens. And it's going to happen to you, and it's going to happen to you, and you, and you. It's going to happen to every single one of you people out there that want. I do that you people thing a lot.
Yeah, you're going to get us canceled.
I know, my God. You people, real estate investors I'm talking about. What are some tips and strategies to overcome this fear that we all have? I guess the biggest one is to just sort of get over it and learn by doing, but there must be some others. Let's go to ChatGPT. First, if you want to get over the fear of making offers on real estate, and this makes a lot of sense, research the hell out of the area in which you want to buy the real estate. Make sure that you know what things are selling for before you make the offers, right? And then, what are you trying to make as a profit? So you need to back into the number. I've got other real estate content on this. We'll put it in the description for you guys to watch later. But if you do your research and you know what something's going to sell for after it's been fixed up, then you can now back into a number where you make an offer that will leave enough money on the table for you and enough meat on the bone so that you can make a little bit of money. And guys, you're real estate investors, so you have to make these offers low enough that you're able to make money. We're value add real estate investors, and this does take the fear out of it for us, because a lot of times, actually most of the time, what we're looking for is something that's very distressed, something that needs a whole lot of work. Now, why? Because then we're less likely to insult the seller, because they know that their piece of garbage needs a lot of work and that I can offer what it's worth, because it isn't worth a whole lot, right? If I'm offering on a house that doesn't have doors and windows and floors, the lights don't come on and the toilets don't work, no one can live there, so it doesn't have a ton of value. But I also know that if I fix it up, value add, spend the money to get it up to its highest and best use, I'm creating value and I'm going to make some money. So I'm able to offer what the house is worth because it needs a lot of work, and I've done my research, so I don't have that fear anymore. This is just one tip. You can hire realtors. Now this one will help you because you're going to tell your offer to your realtor who you're hired, and they're going to submit the offer and they're going to take the blow. When they submit the offer to the other realtor involved or to the seller, they're going to be the ones that are going to get first met with whatever it is that the reactions are, and so you're insulated a little bit. I think that you're going to find that many realtors are not going to want to submit your offers, especially if they're low offers, much lower than is being asked for. But if you've done your research and you know how much something needs as far as work, you really do want to, as soon as you can, get past the idea of being afraid to make the offer and get yourself right in front of the seller making your offer. You're going to have a much better chance of getting your offer accepted if you're the one who's explaining why your offer is so low and you've done the research and you've got the facts to back it up. Number 3 sort of goes into what I've just said. You got to know your limitations. You need to know how much something's going to cost to fix up. You need to know what it's going to sell for. What does that mean, know your limitations? So if I'm in Orlando, Florida, and I'm buying a house in downtown Orlando, the maximum that I can spend on a house may be much higher than if I'm buying a house in another part of Orlando, like for instance, Pine Hills, Florida, which I've bought dozens, maybe hundreds of houses in Pine Hills, and I can only renovate to a certain level because the Pine Hills houses, they're maybe worth fixed up 300, 350 tops, where the downtown Orlando houses might be worth today's market 7, 8, 9 $100,000 or $1 million, right? So if I find something distressed in Orlando and I can buy it at the distressed price down here and then put a bunch of money into it and then sell it for $1 million, I know where I can make that offer. If I'm going to buy something that's only ever going to be worth $300,000 over in Pine Hills and it needs $100,000 worth of work, now I know I need to be buying it for $200,000 less whatever I want my profit to be. So on that Pine Hills house, I might need to be buying it at $100,000 to $150,000, putting $100,000 in it, selling it for $300,000. The $1 million house in Orlando, Florida, I might be having to put $250,000 into it. And so I'm going to be at $750,000 minus the amount of profit that I want to make. And I'm probably going to be buying that house around $500,000 or $600,000. Does that make sense, guys? I hope that it does. Understanding the seller's situation can help you to get over the fear of making an offer. So if you've talked to the seller and you've seen their real estate and you know it's distressed, maybe it's an estate home and you're talking to Uncle Charlie. Uncle Charlie's the only one who lives in Orlando, Florida, and he's been stressed for 2 years now taking care of mom and dad's old house that nobody's been to in 15 years. And he's got 3 other brothers and sisters, but they're all living out west in California and they're relying on Uncle Charlie to take care of everything. And Uncle Charlie doesn't want to do that shit anymore. So now you know his motivation. He wants to sell. You've got that and you can now make him an offer. And that helps you, right? That's what you're looking for. You need to either find distress of the real estate or distress of the sellers. And the sellers could be distressed for any number of reasons. Like Uncle Charlie, he's been left by his brothers and sisters to handle all of the shit. Or it could be a divorce. It could be, well, in Uncle Charlie's case, mom and dad died. It could be there was a fire. It could be termites. It could be anything. You want to look for distress. And when you know what distress is, you're able to make your offer. It helps you to be less fearful of making that offer. Adonis bringing up a really good point here. Coming with the fear of making an offer, if you start to make a whole bunch of offers and your first offer starts to get accepted on a regular basis or ever gets accepted, you should be afraid of that. Now, that's a different kind of fear, but you might have messed up. You might not have done your research well enough. It could be that you've made an offer and you just got a great deal. But a lot of times, if you make your first offer and they just jump out and accept it, you're probably offering too much money. And as a real estate investor, you want to get into this window where you're having to negotiate a little bit so that you're going back and forth. If you're getting your first offers accepted, you might be paying too much. So I'm going to give you 2 real life examples of how making offers can help you to learn about the market and help get you into the game of real estate. First, I'm going to use myself as Robbie Krager, the Flip Flop Flipper. I came to Puerto Rico almost 6 years ago. And when I did, I already had long past forgotten the fear of making offers. And when I showed up on the island, most of the stuff I was looking at was bank owned anyway. So I didn't really care that I was going to make lowball offers. But here's what I learned by making my first 5 offers. In my first 5 offers, 3 of them got accepted. Now, what did that mean? Did that mean that I was getting a bad deal? It didn't necessarily mean that I was getting a bad deal, but what it meant to me was that I was offering too much. So when I first came to the island and I offered 40 cents on the dollar from what the bank was asking, so if the bank was asking $100,000, I was offering them $40,000, and I got 3 of the first 5 offers accepted, I went, oh shit, I'm offering too much money. And so for the rest of that year, I started my offers at 20 cents on the dollar. So now if the bank was asking $100,000, I offered them $20,000. And I am talking about distressed property, value add. No one was living in it. Nobody could live in it. It needed a whole bunch of work. It turns out that the banks were pricing the houses at roughly what they would be worth fixed up and taking no consideration whatsoever into the fact that they needed a whole bunch of work. So I'm telling you that because by making the offers, by coming and making my first 5 offers and getting 3 of them accepted, and guys, I'm a professional real estate investor, I learned that I was offering too much at 40 cents on the dollar. And for the rest of the year, I started out at 20 cents on the dollar. I ended up buying about 65 or 70 bank-owned properties that year at 32 cents on the dollar. So if they were asking 100, I bought 60 houses at $32,500. And then I would put in the money to fix them up, and then I would sell them for $100,000. And that worked out really, really well for us. We wouldn't have necessarily known that that could even be done had I not started making offers. And really, anybody could have done it. There was nobody who was buying properties. So this is right after Hurricane Maria. The lights were still out. The banks owned a ton of stuff. I mean, there were lists of properties, and for a couple of years there, all we did was buy bank-owned properties. And so making the offers started it all for us. And we started just hitting one double, one triple, one home run. I mean, it was just one after another. It was a great time to be here. We were buying houses, fixing them up, and then selling them to retail buyers, to FHA buyers. And there was a housing shortage. So these buyers who ended up living in these houses, they couldn't buy them at the prices that I was buying them at because there were no doors and windows. There was no water working. The electrical didn't work. You just couldn't live in these places. They were distressed. They were destroyed. They had been sitting vacant for years and years. And we would buy them and fix them up and sell them to locals through the FHA or through VA or through just conventional financing. And there was a line of people who wanted to buy these properties. So it was a great time to be buying this type of property in Puerto Rico. We hit it really well, timed the market pretty well coming in when we did, and buying the houses at what we did. So I say all of that. It's a long way to say that's why you make the offers, guys. That's why you want to get out there and start making these offers so that you can find your first double or triple or home run or deal of a lifetime.